All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see if it's local search and it's city search. Gonna see if either of them or both of them have BSS. All right, so we're in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. And our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we're rising, that means we're attracting, we're bringing in people across the entire intent ladder, high intent to low intent. If we're falling, we're missing peeps somewhere along the intent ladder. We're not successfully bringing them in, or even making them aware we exist. So, BSS, focusing here on this, this profile, this brand, focusing on the highest intent buyers, searching right now for boudoir photo shoots right in their city, social search, and Google search. Then our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, focusing on BLCS. Right now, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads, and that's actually going to be the lowest intent people, in any location, but it's going to have the highest number of them. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And as a result, if we got 0 slots, we're basically dead, kind of dead in the water for on page 2 or deeper. And that's because we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only Google searches. So they never even go to page 2. So we care about this 80% cohort. This is the bulk of the market. So if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're invisible to them because they ain't clicking any page deeper at all. Now, if we got 1 slot on page 1, it's also as boudoir search sameness because we're looking the same as every other boudoir photographer. Everyone else on page 1's got most likely 1 link. So anyone going down the Google search, they're clicking us, they're clicking first link, second link, third link, all 10 links, opening up everyone, contacting everyone, getting a quote from everyone, price shopping everyone. And so boudoir search sameness, not good for us. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal, extremely common, but to have that few number of slots page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, which many people know about, which is market saturation, and 2, which basically nobody knows about, is the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, it's when someone gets a new iPhone, all of a sudden they're throwing up, Google My Business profile, Google My Business profile, basically increasing and throwing up their website, competing more for page 1 dominance, or they get a new camera, then they start posting them on Facebook groups. So basically they're increasing the supply of boudoir photographers where the number of buyers in the market remains fixed, which means it's making it harder for every current boudoir photographer to get clients. A big tsunami when that happened was when we had COVID. So when we had COVID, massive, when people lost their jobs, they still need to earn an income. So a lot of them came out as boudoir photographers, saturating the market, making it harder for all the current sellers. Now, the second deeper root cause is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is what I've seen is the number 1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. It's basically kind of this false belief is assuming that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, as a result, we, if you got 1 slot, okay, got 1 slot on page 1 and get some more market saturation. All right, we're pushed down onto, basically we're pushed on to, page 2, but that's fine because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1. So I guess it's not my time anymore. Hopefully they, they shut down their website. So maybe I got a chance to go back on page 1. But no, that is 100% incorrect. Google actually wants to give as many page 1 slots to the boudoir photographer that wants as many as they'll put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google in only 10 days. And so I know for a fact Google will give the slots to those who truly want them. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because yeah, dude, basically we're either got 0 slots on page 1, so on page 2 or deeper. And again, approximately 80% of searchers. The bulk of the market ain't never going to see us because they're page 1 only. And then for 1 slot on page 1, we don't stand out. We're not different. We're being price shopped against everyone who also has, 1 slot on page 1. So what's the solution? We got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation S-cubed methodology. We know this is a solution because we invented it. Again, this is what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days. Google page 1 search. And this is actually the only solution I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Basically, we saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, so we show up there. And once we saturate there, the outcome is actually that flows into those results actually flow onto Google page 1 or Google. And if we get enough signals, obviously that puts us at higher chance Google puts us at Google page 1. So the S-cubed methodology, to use it, we have to accept page 1 equality as a false belief, which kind of breaks that brain barrier to, okay, what's the solution? We can use S-cubed methodology. And it's the only thing that I've seen that actually can successfully fight back against market saturation for boudoir photographers, because imagine we're in San Jose, California. It's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website. We're one of the boudoir photographers. Everyone's trying to be ranked page 1 Google, but we employ S-cubed methodology to the max, where we're taking up the first 300 slots for social search on all the platforms for our highest intent buyer keywords, which then flows onto Google. And let's say we're the first 300 slots on Google for our highest intent keywords as well. Well, that means literally the first 30 pages is filled up with only us on Google organic search. And so when we have that, buyers got to go to page 31 to essentially find any other competitors, and no one's going to page 31. So buyers can essentially only find us. So even if there's max a ton of boudoir photographers, market gets more and more saturated, we stay dominating page 1, which is actually where the bulk of searches stop. 80% of them, approximately 80% of them. So whose business is growing? Our business is growing. Whose business is disappearing? Everyone else. Even though the market's super saturated. Now, once treated with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. Page 1 visibility is getting at least 2 out of 10 slots on page 1, where we're actually looking different. We do have a GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 though, 3 slots out of 10 slots. And once we actually achieve that, we get an extra bonus, which is for every new slot we take up on page 1, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So this is kind of an extra bonus of ranking on page 1, is we're actually kicking a competitor off page 1, and we already know approximately 80% of searchers never even go to page 2. So we effectively make our competitors invisible. But we do want to hit the GBC minimum of at least 3 out of 10. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So we don't have 0 out of 1. We, 0 slots on page 1. We don't have 1 slot on page 1. We do not have 2 slots on page 1. Well, 2 slots on page 1 means we don't have BSS, but that means we have not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And we want to hit that because we actually if we got 3 out of 10 on page 1, one, we're kicking 2 competitors off, or maybe even 3. Also, we're going to look way more visible than simply having the people with 1 link. And very rarely will there be someone else with two links, but we'll look even better than them as well. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got to get visible. So this is our universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by kind of the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality, the false belief of page 1 equality. And we achieve, or we utilize S-cube methodology. That's our solution. We achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So my results using this is my own S-cubed methodology for myself. I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So came in here, gonna look at the organic, and got organic slot 1, Instagram, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. But we got 9 out of 10 slots on Google here, simply from utilizing our S-cubed methodology. And this went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. Now, main event here, going to be checking out this boudoir photography business. We're going to see local search Greentown, Indiana, and city search Kokomo, Indiana. See if we got BSS for any of these. So let's go Greentown, Indiana. All right, Greentown, Indiana. So we got cooking here. So, oh, we got an AI overview. All right, yeah, we'll count that one. This is actually what we want. Let's see. Yeah, this is what we want to get. Nice. So yeah, we'll count that as 1. We got 2. We got 3. We got 4. All right, we got 4 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google. We do not have BSS, and we've met the GBC recommend minimum for 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google. That's the first boudoir photographer I've seen actually successfully acquire the AI overview for one that I've actually searched. So that's local, Greentown, Indiana. I'll look at city, Kokomo, Indiana. Maybe it's the closest city. Who knows? Somewhere around there. And let's see. All right. All right, we are at 0 out of 10 for city, Kokomo, Indiana. So our 4 out of 10 local, 0 out of 10 city. So we got BSS for the city, and we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search for our city. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've actually done your local searches, done your city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you're seeing you had either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google search for any of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots for any of those searches, and you've accepted the fact that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, and you actually see an S-cubed methodology is the only way forward, and you've actually been waiting for something like this. You're loving the initial benefits, more slots page 1 on Google. You're especially loving kicking competitors off page 1 on Google, reducing them, page 2 or deeper, where we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. So make them invisible to essentially approximately 80% of the marketplace. And you're looking ahead, and you're saying, man, AI is taking a lot of people's jobs right now. It's going to take even more and more people's jobs in the future. Last time that happened, COVID, a ton of boudoir photographers entered the marketplace because everyone's got a super powered smartphone, got an awesome camera, and everyone still needs to earn money. So guess what? You already are anticipating a massive market saturation, already more than, kind of standard people upgrading their gear. So way more on top of that. And you realize, man, you actually got to fortify your position on page 1 Google search. You need to have actually so many links that Google could rank page 1 in Google search that it runs out of slots. And then you start filling up page 2, 3, 4. Basically fortify your position so much that no current boudoir photographer can ever rank on page one again, nor could any future boudoir photographer that comes in because AI took their job ever has the chance to rank again. And so you're saying, man, how to get all those links kind of circulating? And you're saying again, S cubed methodology is the only methodology that enables that. You're also liking that, kind of the way this technology works is we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns around our brand, basically plug into our brand for the different keywords we're um, utilizing and ranking for, that every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability to be shown up here way at the top, AI overview. The most premium placement is an organic placement. We can now buy this, cannot pay for this with ads. So increasing the probability of being here every day, the most premium placement on the page. There's some people that will just come here, click and buy from this person. We're also increasing the probability every single day that AI, search apps recommend us as well. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. Every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're increasing probably these guys recommend us for their, basically in their search. And last time I searched for boudoir photographer in a city, I actually, ChatGPT, I did with ChatGPT, it recommended me 3 peeps. And then went and looked manually, Google search, manual Facebook search. And dude, there's like 60 boudoir photographers in the city. So I'm like, man, we got to find a way to get one of these 3, AI recommended slots in the AI search apps ASAP. And you're saying SQ methodology is the only solution that can give you that benefit as well. And you're seeing that the kind of showing up on all these surfaces over time, social search, Google search, and these invisible thematic keywords attached to us. We're actually building our brand at an estimated 8x rate, kind of fast tracking us getting a large, well-known brand in our city so that market saturation affects us way less. You also understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you can actually get all these benefits, build all this AI mindshare momentum in the back-end keywords, these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to your brand, kind of your social handles, your name, your website name, and prevent your competitors from participating, getting any of these benefits at all. So we look basically like a massive gap that approximately no competitor currently or in the future will ever be able to overcome. So you decide to be a first mover advantage and hop on this first because you understand the converse, which is one of your boudoir photographer competitors in your city signing on with me first. They get all these benefits, more slots page 1 on Google, kicking people like you off page 1 of Google off to page 2, 3, 4, or even deeper, fortifying their position. So basically none of their competitors, including you, basically ever have a chance to rank page 1 on Google. Building up such a massive backend AI keyword mindshare so that the no competitors, including you, basically have ever a chance to catch up with them, being recommended for AI overview and recommended in AI search, and building up their brand so much faster, approximately 8x faster than any other strategy. And you're realizing to compete in that scenario, you would actually have to rederive SQ methodology for yourself on your own. You would never actually be 100% confident you successfully derived it. And then you'd have to go and successfully equal our daily execution of that methodology. And if you did all that, you would simply be maintaining the current gap me and your competitor have already achieved ahead of you. So to make inroads, kind of make some distance on that gap, close that gap, you'd actually have to double or triple our output every single day. And then if you did that, you actually wouldn't even be confident to put in that much time because again, you would never be 100% confident you've derived the methodology correctly in the first place. And then even if you did, who's got 80 hours to do all that? So you realize on all that, and you're like, screw that. You decide to be the first mover, sign on first, get this out of the way, make sure you don't miss out on this opportunity. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patients, but when the hospital does open for new patients, shoot us a DM, and we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.